Welcome back. Hopefully we've had some time to reflect on uh, the events of the morning. The back and forth continues like Aaliyah. While we engage, I want to show you the Invictus once again. I've done a little demo on this before, but these were the first options that I had that had the ability to have this dark soul. For some reason, they still had to have the styrofoam and colors in the template. Not really my cup of tea. We did put the hero branding more subtly. You see it's a gradient from black to white. It's one that I wanted to redo if I ever got a chance to do it with another supplier. Invictus obviously was named after the movie with Morgan Freeman and Matt Damon about the, let's call it, story of Nelson Mandela, who, like Gandhi, used passive resistance to overcome the oppression of the enemy. And it only took him 30 years in a cell that was probably smaller than this very room. When you hear people speak and talk, part of the reason we know we're not animals is that we have a deep kind of internal gyroscope that's always remaining on balance. I'm careful not to use the word compass to describe this spiritual discernment, because even that is a triggering statement, because what we've been told is true north is not true north. I don't believe that you have to starve yourself to overcome oppression. Every story of victory in the Bible of the children of Israel involved a battle of some kind, particularly in the time of Joshua, which the name Jesus comes from. Yeshua is another version of Joshua. In Kerala, Yeshu is how we say the word Jesus. And Yeshu comes from Iesus, which you may have seen on various social media platforms recently. The reason that INRI is the translation for King of the Jews above Jesus' crucifixion instead of JNRI, didn't you ever think about that? It's Iesus, not Jesus. And we say the same thing for Yehovah in Malayalam. There are some things about our faith and our eternal home that we're not going to fully understand until we get there. The modern blacks, the modern New Age type of blacks, this kid Farad is a smart kid, but he seems to be pulled in that direction very often. They really like to throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to matters of spirituality. If anarchy was truly the answer, nature would not have the order that it does. You can't tell me that African-based holistic healing through messengers like Dr. Sebi is the way for me to look at medicine if nature does not have a coordination with our human body. How can that be anything but intelligent design? And when we make life, when a man of African descent comes together with a woman of Caucasian descent, why is the hair texture always so similar of the children? Isn't there order in that creation, even when we make life and screw it up? Busy Bone can be part of Bone Thugs and Harmony and still have the entire spirit of Cleveland just as much as any of the other members. And Aubrey, so-called Graham, can have the same kind of mix, but have absolutely no connection to the culture whatsoever. So we are products of both nature and nurture. And we are nurtured into believing that people like Gandhi and people like Nelson Mandela are the superior ways to achieve change. But as is very clear by my biological origin, are they coming to that starving man's defense? Did they praise him even when he achieved the first Fulbright Award of an active faculty ever in that 60-year history? When I was playing football my junior year, we would have meetings very often. My mother would always joke about the offensive huddle being a meeting, like a staff meeting. So you say you play for 4 seconds and then you go and have a meeting. That's what she called the huddle. It was funny because it was true. I desperately desired to be a part of a huddle where I felt like the team had me in mind as a part of it. But whether it was academics, white evangelical church groups, school functions, or athletics, and then later, professional environments. There was always an assumption of exclusion. Children under my care chose alternative lifestyles to have a facade of inclusion. Even this is a mockery of my purpose. The enemy coordinates his attacks so precisely and I know what my deepest motivations are, and that's why I'm constantly communicating them with you. Because if anything happens to me, The same surveillance that they use to monitor and control every element of my environment can be used to resist them. The goal is to shame me into or paralyze me with fear in such a way that I don't use those same highways to speak to you. Because what happens if I speak to you and you learn something from me the way I learned something from you? What if our community's history heals your pain the way your community's history has healed ours? Did you ever think that learning the language of the 100-meter dash would impact the diaspora so much? Isn't swordplay just calligraphy? I told both my mother and father this while they were alive and happy together. They are aware of the metaphor. And we prayed over this in that spirit. So it can never die. That is the spirit of Invictus. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Or however it goes. Don't waste your time like these woke black distractions, most of them tethers, complaining about this microaggression or that microaggression. It's a feminine way of looking at the world. And I have no desire to emulate black female culture. I grow my own hair out of my own head. And I know when to stop eating. And I can disagree with my father without disrespecting his office. And I can even behead him without disrespecting his office. Because the office is mine now. And when a man disrespects the king, he must be beheaded publicly. So that the nation will understand the standard. Your precious Charlie Munger looks up to Lee Kuan Yew. And how does Singapore handle punishment? But is there a poverty issue in Singapore? Is Singapore crippled by red tape and bureaucracy while claiming to be so-called progressive? The only progressive mentality Illinois has ever had is for homosexual activity. While you've stolen from black culture, when the founder of Chicago was black, before Brandon Johnson, we had a lesbian mayor. who accomplished nothing. And before him, we had Rahm Emanuel, who did everything in his power, like his brothers, to rape the black community and infect every other minority with their poison. You want me to sit here in prison and write you poetry? I will write poetry for the women I love. But I will not throw my pearls to swine. You get 80%, and that is far more than you deserve. You never gave me your best, only your leftovers. And I did my best to love those, because I was born and raised off of people's scraps. And even now, I do the work of the Lord with scraps. I will not reject the Lord. I know Jesus is a fraud. I know the King James Bible is there's not even a word for what it is. But I also know that we traveled every Sunday to support Pastor George Stevenson, who literally broke his back serving our people. And I will happily lay on the guillotine for his honor. That is a man who baptized me. My racial ambiguity is for the defense of my people. Both my brothers and my sisters. You have tried to program into our community the same greed that you Jews suffer from. But we have too much history with the Spirit of God. We are already indebted so much, we may not even be capable of that level of treason. We suffer from self-righteousness, and a little bit of self-deprecation because of our colonial, colorist weaknesses. But that's why God made me, isn't it? I couldn't be like that, even if I wanted to be. And trust me, I've tried. But like white people, there's nothing that's ever good enough for some slave masters. So there's no need to keep kicking against the goads, as your precious King James likes to say. And there's no babies, no child support, no alimony. You just have to wait until I starve, right? No addictions. Like Carcetti told Burrell, or like Burrell told Carcetti, excuse me, if you want me gone, you'll have to shit can me. My mother wouldn't die So you did it for her. And we had 6 months of people coming to the house, causing a little bit of a commotion. All these journal entries will stand as eternal evidence against you, the accuser. And they are my offering to the Lord. A down payment on my eternal home. The parties we will throw will be epic, and you will not be invited. Then we'll see how true the story of the rich man and Lazarus really is. But in this moment of quiet, I have no concerns. So why Jesus? I look forward to our next encounter.